Afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you may be. I am Heather Cameron, your co-host, and welcome to day 2 of the Scrapbooking Fun Summit. This is our fourth, I think it is, our fourth live.
Great. Yes.
It's our fourth live, and we are here, and Tracy's got a different hat on today. So Tracy is my co-host, and she is the owner of the Embellished and Connection, which is a Canadian semi-virtual, semi-in-person shop, but not a storefront.
That's right. That's a pretty good description of it.
It is a good description. Hi, everyone who's there. Drop and let us know where you're from. And we are going to chat with Tracy in a way that we don't usually chat with Tracy and talk about how she got into scrapbooking. Before I do it, if you do have any technical issues, I think most of them are cleared up. Fingers crossed. I just jinxed myself today. Reach out and let us know. We are working through all of them. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being on live. If you're listening to the replay, absolutely, you can comment. We'll come back and cycle through and see the comments. Or you can comment in Tracy's post in the Facebook group if you're playing with us in Facebook, or you can always respond to any email that we may have. So there you go. So I'm going to put Tracy literally on the spot. There she goes. She's on the spot.
On the spot is if you're emailing us right now and I don't answer, I'm busy. Okay, sorry.
Yes, we will be fast. We'll be a little slower on email response. Let us know where you're from. We have people from BC, from Sudbury, Ontario, from London, Ontario. So Canadians. Tracy has some good stuff. Hi, Debbie J. Debbie's with here. I love your video. It's been years since I scrapbooked, and it's changed a lot. I was mostly stickers when I used to scrapbook. I love what you did. So there you go. We got lots of comments like that. So first of all, before we get started, who are you, where are you from, and why do you scrapbook or card make?
Okay. Well, obviously I'm Tracy. Where I'm from, well, that would be Toronto, but I live in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And why do I scrapbook? A friend got me into it eons ago. She regrets it because now I own the business and now I sell her product. Okay. But basically I love, like, memories are so important to me. Okay. Not to get too, not to make everything go morning kind of like, and I mean, MOURN, whatever, but losing people when I was young, we'll say it that way, that made me just cherish their photos and those memories that you have so much more. So yes, that's really what got me to, and I always love pictures. But that to me, it just cares so much. So yeah. Does that help?
Excellent. You froze when you said that. You always loved what? You went froze.
Oh, well, I'm not that cold. Okay. So sorry, you mean like the whole?
No, just when you said I always loved something. Pictures. Photos. Okay.
Yes. Again, I'm a visual, so that's just, what I see, and that's, I guess, how I can remember a lot.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Excellent. And now what do you do now? What does your business do now?
So with the good old Embellished Connection, I say I have everything except for what you're looking for, because it's true. I stock a lot, and I'm sorry, everybody, it's not all online right now. So I always tell my clients too, they know, they can follow my newsletters that I send out with a lot of new product. They can ask me for something they're looking for. I might either have it or I'll bring it in for them. I also organize a lot of crops. So whether it's day events or some weekend events, some of them for charity, some of them just for fun and relaxation. And yeah, I love it. I give a room full of, people that are there doing all their paper crafts or whatever that they're doing. And it's just, it's again, so fun. And as you know, Heather, you're seeing the community here, the way we speak to each other and just find support each other. And then you can get all in one room. So it's fun.
You need to add into your spiel that you also do this.
Well, yes, I do, I guess. But sorry, I guess I assume that was kind of known here, but yes.
She does this. So if you're in Canada and you're looking for unusual supplies, reach out to Tracy. And if you're a VIP, you can reach us to Tracy if you're not in Canada, but shipping international, as we've talked in other ones, adds a lot of complications. But if you are Canadian, there's lots of Canadians on, reach out to Tracy. She loves to find unusual things.
And sorry, I see Rosemary down there, Brampton, Ontario. Bramalea. I'm sorry. That's where I'm from. Just have to say it.
From the Ontario places, but definitely if you're Canadian in there, and if you are a VIP, there's a discount coupon for Tracy that you can claim between now and what expiry date did you get it? I think the end of June.
Something like that.
The end of June, so that you can use that.
And
so
even if you're not Canadian, trust me, if there's stuff that you like, or if something, like I say, you're looking for, you can contact me. I will let you know, at least going, okay, this is what I can do for shipping. And then you can go, okay, thanks. Or no.
Well, and honestly,
But,
we've never said this before, but if you're Australian or if you're in the UK, it actually might be cheaper with the exchange rate and the shipping for you to order from somebody from Canada versus somebody from the US. You'd have to look into it, but that's an option. You're going to pay shipping either way.
Yeah.
And your exchange rate Canadian to Aussie is a little more reasonable. So
yeah, they're very close.
They're very close. So and that's another option for if you're in Australia or the UK or anywhere, you're going to pay shipping from the US. You might be able to take advantage of Tracy's coupon from here. So excellent. Well, let us get into Tracy's project. So Tracy, tell us about what you designed and your thought process behind it.
Basically, I called it Elegant Rusty Metal because I do have them here. Because I love metal for whatever reason. I just like it. And I find that when my clients see, especially gears and things, they automatically assume it has to be for a man's page, right? Which, sure, that can be great. But I'm like, why? You can put it on anything. So, and then the other thing I did was just to mix the pattern papers, and again, to use up your scraps. And of course, because it's me, I will always have chipboard. All right. Because that's just who I am. So so that was the first one I did, because it's hard you don't want to duplicate it exactly the same when you're, because it's not a card that I can send to more than one person. I don't want the exact same layout in my album. So that was the first one that I did. Right. And then, like I said, then I had fun making some of the gears looking rustier than the others, because at first, they come brand new in a package. So
how did you rust out your gears?
Well, I just had some paint. In my case, I used a Prima, and ironically, it's called Rust Effect. But I mean, you can use any paints really. And then I had a third one. I mixed the colors together because it was depending on the color that I wanted. And and the other thing was I didn't paint all over everyone perfectly. I just gave a few lines here and there, and just depending on how rusted, if that's an English word, I wanted one gear to look versus the other. And then some of the other gears I just left plain and simply the way they are, because again, I can't have them all the same.
Well, natural rust wouldn't happen in a perfect painting anyway.
Yeah. And then I was again trying, so this is the one I did in the video. I was trying to mix, like showing, how you've got the gears, you can have the flowers, you can do a whole mixture, right? And then again, I was using some scraps of paper under here, and I was mixing flowers and, or in this case, butterflies, the other one flowers, I think, with rusty kind of paper, right? And meanwhile, who do I put? I purposely made sure that I say females in this case, on this layout, but you could put cats, you could put, it doesn't matter. It could be scenery, it could be whatever your pictures are. And that's just what I wanted to show.
For anybody in the comments, a couple of questions for you guys. One is, have you used metal in your layouts or your cards? Because you could use them in your cards, I would assume.
You can. They will add that
if you're not mailing them
for shipping.
If you're not mailing them, have you used metal in your cards and things like that? Had you thought about it, and does it open up an idea for you? You want to throw that in the comments. And if you have any questions for Tracy, definitely, because somebody mentioned that they loved your products and your layout. I loved your video. It's been years since I've scrapbooked, and it's changed a lot. It was mostly stickers when I used to do it. I love what you did. So there you go.
I'm going to comment on stickers, because that's something that, it's dying right now, but I'm like, no, you can still use your stickers. You can still take that sticker. I'll just say mat it, right? Put it on a piece of paper, then cut it. I know it's fussy cutting right there. But then it doesn't look like just a sticker anymore. right? It looks like you're using ephemera instead or whatever. That's all.
Well, whatever is old is new these days. So there were some comments on the video for you, Tracy, which is great idea. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy watching your videos. Love the layout. Very impressive. And some thank you for sharing tips and techniques for this to look. So Susan said she hasn't used metal yet. Yet is a good answer.
Yeah.
Of doing it. So I have a question. Would that be classified as multimedia? Or would it be classified as scrapbooking? Or how would you?
See, we've had this discussion before, and we're okay, I guess if you looked in the dictionary, maybe I will have to do that. But multimedia is supposed to be defined like you're using, I think, only 2 different products or something and mixing them. Because we had this discussion, remember, the last summit. Yeah. Anyways, I don't necessarily see it as multimedia myself, because I think there should be more, I don't know, more splatter, more some other paints or some other paste involved.
But isn't scrapbooking by nature multimedia?
But I mean, again, I guess, because again, I've got, like, just say this one little area. I've got the metal here. I've got washi tape. I've got chipboard, the gears, which have the paint, the paper. So, and then the flower. Is that multimedia?
I was going to say, isn't by design scrapbooking multimedia? It looks multi. You could, Rosemary's fussy cutting while she's watching us. There you go.
Excellent.
There you go. I gotta know what were you carrying the cat for in that picture? See, there you go. Is it you carrying
the cat? Oh, I had a cow thing. I'm trying to remember this cow thing. I mean, it's because one of my friends loves cows. Mm-hmm. Really. And so I just saw this and I was like, oh, look what I just found. I was just, yeah. And of course, another friend goes, click, because, we're scrapbookers and that's what we do to each other.
Mm-hmm. Like junk journaling. So it has kind of a junk journaling look to it.
Yes. Yes. And again, I don't know. It's like, we'll say like larger size junk journaling with the pictures in it. How about that?
What is a junk journal anyways, by definition? What do people call a junk journal? I'm starting to learn that one.
Yeah. Anybody want to give their opinion? Otherwise I can talk and think, because I don't personally junk journal, but if I'm correct, it's based, sometimes you're just doing a lot of this in, like without the pictures necessarily, you're putting all the pastes and the paints and, in like a smaller kind of book, like I don't want to say a notebook. I'm not going to think of my words. You can't stump me with this. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't be reading.
No, you shouldn't be reading. Don't do 2 things at once. No one is good at doing 2 things at once. No matter what we tell ourselves.
I know. I tell other people before they speak that don't read. We'll take care of that, and boom.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in a media type book, do you know what I mean? Like, I just cannot think of my word right now. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, Heather and I have to eat lunch soon. Anyways, I cannot think. But a multimedia album, like just a smaller book, and then junk journaling, basically, you're, like I say, they're painting. They'll use a lot more stencils in them. They'll pasting and stamps, everything. They're just mixing everything like on a page. Mm-hmm. And I say that, I mean, it's done very nicely. Do not get me wrong. And then it's like, okay, they go to the next page.
Excellent. But, yeah. It's like well, I mean, I have a visual journal from drawing, so it sounds similar in some respects. It's kind of like a place to play.
Yes.
As opposed to a finished product. Can you answer our question from yesterday about making things look antique rather than blotchy?
Okay. So things is a very general word. So again, I'm going to say the gears to make some of them look older. Like I said, I did some of the paint on it, or I would only put some of the paint lines on some marks. So it just looks like, oh, that got scratched up. Of course, it depends on other items, whether it's the paper, like we were talking yesterday. See, that's an area. Where did I have this one, Trace? Sorry. Say up here. See this here? Mm-hmm. This was a white piece of paper with the print on it. Okay. And that there is paint. and I was just going around the edges a bit. And yeah, because that okay, I did keep that part. This was the same piece of paper, because you'll see in the video how I just cut that part of it out. So it looks like it's the whole paper underneath, but I'm cheap on my stuff. Okay. So what I cut out was used down here. All right. And that is where I just dropped, honestly, my brush or something like that. And I was like, you know what? That looks fine. It just, again, made it look, this makes this paper look a little older. You can sand it. There are sanding tools, like if we're speaking again with paper and that, there's some sanding tools you can use. You can, use your scissors. Like, so these are my scissors. Okay. So you put the paper here. Does this make sense? And you can scratch off the edges, kind of thing. You could do things like that. And then often I will do some inks, and a drier ink, something like that, or the paints like I did there in the video, just to, it's older, it's kind of wrecked, but then you add a bit of color and go, oh, now it's rusted too, or whatever it might be that you need.
Does that answer your question, Susan? Because it sounds like there's lots of different ways you could make things antique.
Yeah.
Play.
Exactly. And if let's say you want to make this piece of paper old looking, but you don't want to wreck it. So you practice on your scraps and go, hey, does this work for me? Right. And then you go, there. Then you become more confident going, yeah, doesn't matter how it looks anymore. I'm just going to do this.
Shelley has a good one. I use a metal emery board to distress the edges of my paper.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
That was good. That's when you were saying it sounded like an emery board would do it as well.
Yes. Yeah. And again, it can depend on how distressed you want it, because then you've got this, how you have different textures, I guess, if that's the word for emery boards, right? Things like that.
Hey, that isn't cheap. This is the smart way to make your money go further. I mean, reality, what you guys love to do costs money. So the more that you can reuse your scraps, reuse things, use household devices to, it sounds, from listening to some of the products people produce, you probably have it in a different form, right? You don't need to buy, Shelley's on here, and Shelley did a course for us on using Lisa's inks, and Lisa has brushes. So you can buy Lisa's brushes, or you can go and buy makeup brushes, and they'll do exactly the same thing. You don't necessarily have to have the branded product to do this stuff. So there's lots of stuff out there that you can play with.
Yeah. And again, you'll always look, I always tell people, look at the back of especially my clients, because they're like, oh my God, you have so many layers of paper. I'm like, always turn it around. This is the back. Okay. And I've got, meanwhile, the front, you have the, sorry, I can't even tell, is that a black or an orange? You've got like the dark blue here and the orange, and then the pattern paper. So they're like, you've used 3 sheets. It's like, no, I haven't. I used part of them, right? But then I used again the leftovers as to map the pictures, and I will always do stuff like that. And behind, I always say, look, I cut out part of this pattern paper to use it further down. So yeah.
Susan says, yes, I need drier ink pads. One thing that, and I don't even know if this is true, so Tracy can correct me if I know, but one of the things I used to do was paint with dry brush technique. Yeah. So instead of using a drier pad, just take a dry brush and then take the excess off. I was thinking this when you're talking about it. So take a dry brush, dip it in your ink, take the excess off on a piece of paper, and when it starts to get really dry, use that to distress.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that's a dry ink. Well, it's just, you're just taking the edge of it and just kind of doing it. So that's one way to do it. It's called dry brushing. So you take a little paint, but or ink, and you just get it to, there's almost nothing on your brush, and use that to distress the edges would work.
I remember doing like the dry brushing, especially for going back to painting ceramics.
Exactly. That's how I learned
the snow and stuff on the roof and that. I would do that.
That's exactly how I learned to do dry brushing, was painting ceramics. But it's used in a lot of other ways, because it's just getting you that subtle. I don't know if that can help you, Susan. It's just getting that subtle idea.
And also, Susan, if you're looking for like a drier ink pad, of course, that's the distress inks. Something dry like that, they're great. That's exactly what they're designed for, is to go around a lot of the edges, and then of course to mix in with each other, and then to walk away for an hour and go, oh, I didn't cover up my ink pad. Still good. They're designed for people like me.
And it's like distress, look, tearing, rip paper, use emery boards, ink, black, splatter, play.
Yes.
Really, bottom what you're saying there, Debbie, is play. Have some fun.
I mean, get messy every now and then. You know, I will admit this, when I was doing the video, if you saw that pause during the video that I made, that I learned to cut out, right? But anyways, I was messy like crazy. I'm like, and I couldn't get it off. I had wipes here and I'm going, oh my God, I got to make this video. And I'm sitting in the middle of it. But you know what? At the same time, it's fun. And because again, I don't mind getting messy, but that time I did a little, I don't know what I did.
Do you store the pages in your paper page protectors, or does it fit with thicker things like a flower?
I will put them in albums. Again, we had discussed this yesterday with, I'm not going to remember who, but we did. And I don't, I know it was with Alicia. Yeah, because in some of my layouts, in some of the layouts, I will pop it up, but I may not pop them up, as Alicia was saying, as high as she will. Okay. But with the flowers, yes, and the metal, I will definitely put them in albums. Yes, it takes up that more space, right? But I do. And then one other thing, because again, a lot of my clients ask me this, is for the different types of albums. It may depend on, am I making an album with a certain theme? And that's all I want in there. So I only have that much space to work with, right? Or am I just doing some layouts and I'm going to put them in an album? Because then you're, excuse me, you get into your post albums, and then you get into your 3-ring binder albums. So for stuff like this that I'm just having fun with, I will use the 3-ring ones again, because you have a little more room. They're not, and again, even if you're trying to add to the post albums, it's not as squishy and hard to get them into, to lock it all in place. So I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, Susan hasn't gone down the distress ink rabbit hole yet. Lots left. What colors would you recommend starting with?
So many people ask me that, and I always tell them, what colors are your favorite colors? First of all, because what are you going to use? I can tell you the colors I like, but you might go, oh, I would never use that, and vice versa. So,
and distressing doesn't have to be brown. I think maybe that's part of the
no. See, and this was a rusty thing, but because distressings, I mean, they've got all the, Okay, how about this? I'm kind of rewinding there. Also, because I saw your question about the inks or the oxides. So I use, first of all, I use a lot of turquoise in my colors and stuff, right, Heather? We've had the discussion of what we wear. So I will use that a lot on layouts. I will use a lot of greens, and of course some browns, but I find more of the orangey, kind of like in this case, rusty, is it rusty metal? Geez, I can't even think of the names of my colors right now. Anyway, so I will use a lot more of those. So that's what I will often start with. However, don't ask me why. Sorry to everybody, I'm not a pink lover, but there's a certain one of the pink oxides, and Heather and I have to have lunch soon. So I cannot think of my words, but there's a pink oxide, one of them, and I love it. It's the, I just had the word. Anyway, and I use that one all the time. I don't get it. So
pinks.
Yeah. And then when you're talking about inks or oxides, the distress inks are, I'm going to say more, and they're going to be more me because they're more got that antiquish look. Oxides are more of a pastel colors and stuff. Okay. So again, it depends what you're going to do with them, because again, there's also some water reactions and things like that are different. So, but it depends. Again, always just look and go, where did your eyes get drawn to, and grab that color, because then you're going to start with that and then go from there. That's what I say. Of course, part of me.
Pickled raspberry flamingo?
It might have been the flamingo one. No. Oh my God.
It's okay. It'll come to you.
Yeah, it will.
There's another question in the Facebook. There's a question in the Facebook group is, what did you put your paints on in the video? Acetate, acrylic block?
Oh, I know what she's talking, or I'm guessing. I just had this plastic mat that I had got years ago, and it was just a small mat. And yeah, I just use that to mix the paints, and it might have been from Joy Crafts is the brand, maybe. And I don't even know if they still have it, because it came in a pack of a few different sizes. And it's great. That's what it's just meant for, just to mix it up, or not to mix it up, but to get all that area dirty and then get it out of your way and keep doing, your other stuff.
Well,
But
if you're mixing paints, you can even just get one of those little painty things from the
yeah,
dollar store. I have one when I mix paints for watercolors and stuff like that. I just
yeah.
have a little, the old one with the thumb in it that you can hold. They work. They're plastic. They clean pretty
yes.
well. So they're good for, I don't know what that's, paint palette.
Yeah.
Um,
Our words are hard. Right
my
now.
words are never good when it comes to this stuff, but paint
Oh,
palette.
no.
Not a pink person either, but I love the saltwater taffy distressed ink. Well, pink is, you know what? Pink has a bad reputation. There are many shades of pink that you can get into that aren't bright neon pink.
Oh, yeah, no, and there's nothing, please, like I said, there's nothing wrong. I mean, again, I'll keep saying, my friend who got me into this whole world, all right, who first got me into ceramic painting, she told me many times, she goes, stop talking to me. But we've known each other since kindergarten. Her favorite color is pink.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And it is one of those colors that has, just like green has many tones. Pink
it could be worn lipstick.
Worn lipstick.
That's the color.
Worn lipstick.
Worn lipstick. That's what it's called.
I always think of marketers who dream up all these funky names.
Oh yeah.
We should have, I didn't ask Cindy when she was on, she used to design for Hallmark, and I always think she was probably doing the images, not the words, but the people who write the words for Hallmark. So that's an interesting question for if there's any card makers on here. How do you, and I don't know, so this is coming from someone who doesn't know, so I treat me as a newbie, do you buy fully written sentiments or do you write your own sentiments by cutting out and using words? How do you come up with that? And I don't know if any card makers are on with us today, but how do people generally do that, Tracy?
Well, because the inside sentiments, right? That's more what you're speaking of. Those for stamps are becoming more and more popular right now. Right. Well, the last year, because before that, people would do mostly the outside of the card, and there you go. Maybe if there was somebody, they might write something of their own in there. But then all of a sudden, I guess somebody's light bulb out there went off and said, "Hey, I'm going to put the insides of the stamps," right? And it's becoming more and more popular for sure.
So I do both on my cards. So you make your own and you use them. You do both, which makes it, I never really thought about it, but yeah, I can see both where you have a heart vet that you want to write yourself, or you've got a brain blank. I mean, Google's great for figuring out sentiments for the inside of cards when you don't know what you're doing. But Susan, okay. Excuse me. How do you pick pattern paper to work together on a page, meaning size of prints and type of prints rather than the obvious of colors that work together?
Okay. Size of prints. I was not waiting for that question. Well, I know you said obviously colors, but I'm going to start with colors because that is the first thing that'll get me. And I will look at the colors in the pictures and try and go, all right, what colors do I need to pop them out, right? So here, obviously, I went with orange. I guess I think sometimes it's just the background. Sometimes it might be, somebody's t-shirt or whatever that makes me go, I want to go that color. Sometimes, okay, I might just look at this piece of paper going, I want to use this. But then I'm like, all right, what colors are in there? And I know I'm going to keep sticking with colors, which is not really your question. What patterns?
That's both questions. There's colors in there too.
Yeah, because again, say for me to mix this pattern, this piece down here that I threw in there, that brought to me out the blue in the butterflies here. Okay. It just popped that out for me. So it still does have to do with the color for me. I will admit that. And the other one, let me see. Yeah, again, I went kind of the bluish turquoisey color down here is popping out some of the blue in there. And also what I'll do is, let's say I use the green, the matting here to pop out the green in the pattern. Well, then I'll go, yeah, but there's other colors back here. So I want to pop out something else. And that can help me pick out, that why I wanted this color flower as opposed to another green one, because I didn't want it all green. I want to pop out everything in that pattern paper. Okay. So yeah, it is still based on color a lot, I guess.
Yeah, and that makes sense because if you have a theme, I mean, there's a lot of color theory out there, right? Opposite colors and opposing colors, and you may actually have a natural inclination to know your own color theories. So it makes sense. We have a lot of people with the sentiment comments here. So some people, a combination of use both. One that I thought was interesting is they use past cards they got themselves. So they keep the sentiments from the cards and then use that. So I think that's, I don't know where that one went, but that's a really cool one.
Actually, Heather, on that one, I've seen some people give out or receive some cards from card makers, obviously, where the inside page or like sentiment, it's sometimes, I don't want to say a Post-it note, it's not like that, but it's done like they're stamped on and everything, but done in a way so you could take that out and reuse it. Okay.
So card maker to card maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, you know, I actually had a friend who, my mom had a friend that she grew up with that was one of her best friends, and she made cards, and she would just like keep all your cards for me. So my mom would keep all her cards and then give them. Then she would use the cards to do the sentiment. I never really thought about it, but she would use the cards to do the sentiments inside and things like that. So it's a great idea. Whoever wrote that, Linda, or use the sentiments from old cards. It's great to do that. True. Especially when you could distress the sentiments. So you could cut it out, distress it, and you could use all these techniques together.
And it's not a bad thing, because then you go, people go, well, I can't do that. It was used. It's like, yeah, but if you're buying a stamp or a sticker or anything that you're using, like they feel like they haven't created it. It's like, no, you can. Like you just said, distress around it, cut around it. You put it, use a die and cut it out in a shape. Yes. Whatever.
Shelley uses a Post-it note for the inside when doing a card exchange.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can make your Post-it note, Shelley, the sentiment that someone else can use in a card. Get very creative with it. So yeah, lots of cool things with that. Just a little, because I know your presentation wasn't on this, but your favorite thing to use is Chipboard. Why is that?
I think because here comes Miss Shop Ahead and Thrifty. Okay. Because you can buy, like, often say we're looking for whatever, you're just out there shopping and you see something and you go, I love this. I would love to use this on my card or layout, but it's not the right color, right? It's just not going to work with, it's pink and Tracy won't like it, right? So, but a chipboard is a white piece of paper. You can take it because you like it, and you can wait 2 years until you go, now I'm going to do this page. What color do I want to color it? Right? And you can make it match everything. Maybe I do want it pink, and maybe I'll go, nope, it's going green, or you can mix your colors. You could do so much with it. You could rip it apart. You can, keep it nice. It just, to me, there's a lot you can do with it.
I love this one. This has got to come back to another one too, which is I use my last year's received Christmas cards to make new ones for this year, and I will mail it back to the person who sent it to me. I think that's really cool, because they may not remember that they sent it to you, Rosemary, but they'd be like, that's a smart way to do it. You'd have to keep good records for that.
I have, because there's a lot of people that I know who make cards as well, and then they send me these cards, and I'm like, I know the work they've done and that it involves. So there's times that I'm like, but no offense, we can't keep them all. But then I'm going, hang on, I can use this into my Christmas layout. And I've done stuff like that, or just used parts of it and used it. Yep.
That's a cool idea too. So Julie says for pattern mixing that you do want to keep similar complementary colors, but style's important. You can't mix vintage steampunk with a cute cartoon steampunk. But can you?
Sounds like a challenge, eh?
I knew when I posted that Julie, I knew when I posted that Tracy would take that as a challenge. Oh, that's cute, Rosemary. She writes a little note on the back that she's upcycled their card, which is great because they get to see that. So that's very, very great idea, Rosemary, and that's kind of fun to take. In your video, what does this one say? No, you can read it on the screen. In your video, you use metallic items. Do you ever use disc die cuts and chipboard and have a way of doing them in a metallic appearance to make them look metallic?
Okay. I'm trying to think what I did the last summit. And anyway, just because if you want to make them look metallic, I'm thinking you can use, and because I will often use certain markers on my chipboard. And then, of course, you can go out, get metallic markers, or there's metallic paints. I always tell people, whatever you're doing with chipboard, especially if it's a word, practice on the back of it, right? If you want your chipboard, going on this way, practice on the back, because different brands and different products that you're using can seep into it differently, right?
Mhm.
And make sure it's the color that you want it to be, and it matches, with your layout or your card, whatnot. Flip it over and then scribble away on it. But yeah, you can definitely make it look metallic. You can also use some of the foil on them. I
Mhm.
try everything with chipboard, okay?
I was
And yes,
gonna
you can
say, yeah.
foil your chipboard. I'm just saying, so
If you're
depending on how metallic you mean.
if you are a VIP or you
Yeah.
join the circle, Tracy actually did the first video that we have in the Scrapbooking Fun Circle is Tracy showing all the different ways that you could use chipboard and things that you could do to make it. So you can use guided wax. Have you ever tried Lisa's inks on chipboard? The new ones,
I try everything on chipboard.
what is the links? The Lisa's.
But okay, the thing is with Lisa's inks on them is that you don't get black chipboard very often. And that's where you'd like to see the difference, right? Of the
Mhm,
two colors in
mhm.
the interference things that we're,
Yeah, that's the word I can never remember.
so that's, otherwise it's going to look, yeah, those inks are just better on paper. They really are.
Cute.
So
So good for a laugh. I'd like to see them as Metallica appears too. I cut out dies, i.e. gears, and then silver or gold emboss them.
yeah,
You can
there
also
you
make
go.
embossing powder to make it look distressed. So it's a great idea as well.
Yeah. See,
So many ideas.
I
That's the
don't
big
allow myself to use a lot of embossing powder, and that's only because I'm messy, and that is scary with embossing powder. That's all.
It's fun to be messy.
Yeah, but no, that's awful to clean up. Trust me.
Thanks, Susan. By the end of this summit, I might remember what interference inks are called. I don't know why. It just doesn't, the word doesn't make sense to me. I think that's why I don't remember it. I'm dyslexic, so certain words just never get in my brain. And I don't know, what does interference mean. If somebody explained it to me, I would probably get it in my brain. Always practice on the back first. Yes, Julie.
Exactly. That was my little back there, if you saw me. Also for the metallic, we were talking about this stuff yesterday, which it's Cosmic Shimmer. I have used that on chipboard, and yes, it works, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So play is the answer. And so you don't necessarily, but I mean, that goes back to the question I asked you about card making, is that you might not want to put the metal on the card making because it's heavy, but you could put a little bit of chipboard, which is still heavy, but not doing that.
Hey, you can put anything you want anywhere.
Exactly. Well, Alicia was talking about, Alicia for last night was talking about, she looks at mailing her card as the gift, and she doesn't worry about envelope size or card size. She puts it in bubble wrap.
Yes.
And she sends it. It costs her $10 to send it, but that's the gift that she's giving the person. And to me, when she explained it, it's like, I'm giving you a piece of art, because that's what your cards are, ladies. It's a piece of art. So not worrying so much about the weight of it, and just thinking, well, if you took the person out to dinner, it would cost you more than $10 or whatever. So it was an interesting way of looking at, I'm giving you a gift. I'm giving you a piece of art, which I think is a way, because they are wet wipes to rescue with embossing powder is run amok.
Yeah.
Why does embossing powder run amok? Because it's light, or is it?
Well, because embossing, now there's different thicknesses, but usually it's very thin. Okay. It's very, very thin. So it's just like, it comes in often in a little bottle like this, but it's, I mean, if you dump it out, or, which I know, you don't do that, but it's, how can I say? It's like the thinnest sand you can think of. That's kind of what it is. Okay. And so, yeah, with somebody like me, because I'm not careful when I put it on or anything. Also, because then you're usually using the heat gun, and Tracy has forgotten what she's doing. She's in another little world and went, oh, geez, that was hot. So, yeah, it's just dangerous stuff for me to use. It is.
Susan has Cosmic Shimmer in her shopping cart right now. There you go. Might end up in your shopping cart. Embossing powder is like sand at the beach. It gets everywhere so easily.
That's a good comparison. Yep. Yeah.
I just received a card where they flipped it inside out to protect the raised embellishments on the front during mailing.
Okay.
That's smart.
See, yes, and I've often had people like they'll just put a regular piece of paper, just a photocopy or something around it, just like you're saying to protect it. But that's interesting to flip it around.
Like I said, brilliant community sharing ideas,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
really what we love. So, this is one of the reasons Tracy and I do this, right? Is the sharing the community and getting you to share your ideas and things like that. So, any other questions for Tracy about her project, about Chipboard, about metal? Any questions for us about the summit? And hopefully if you've had any issues, just reach out to us. If you're interested in this kind of thing, like Shelly's here. Shelly, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you love about our circle? Maybe Shelly's left now and she won't tell it. Shelly's part of our Scrapbooking Fun Circle. She actually did her very first class with us, which was great. So we love Shelly, but she's been in the circle for a while. So the Scrapbooking Fun Circle, just to give you an idea of what it is, we created it. We launched it softly in December. And what we do in it is a combination of crafting. So we have at least one craft together. Come and do this. Lots of laugh. Can I say I'm not here? Sure, Shelly, you can say you're not. We come and we craft together. We have at least one guest workshop, and it's not a pre-recorded presentation. It's actually them talking, so you can ask them questions, and showing Shannon, who's on later, was one of our speakers last month, talking about how to use foil with your laminator. I got that one right.
You did.
How to do that. We are connecting with people all over the world. And so we also do a challenge per month. And really, it's about getting out your stuff and playing. So Tracy and I dream up a challenge. This month is petals and paper, to use your stencils to really get there and create. We have a speaker coming in, again, someone who hasn't done it a lot. So we're bringing in people who are new, who just want to share their passion and do that. So it's been a lot of fun. Shelly actually like to connect with other folks. And that's what's been fun about it is we have people in Australia who come in. We have people in Canada. We vary the time. We have one lady from Alaska who comes in, and it's just a great opportunity to connect and do that. So if you're interested in the circle and you're a VIP, you can come in for the first month for free, and then it's 20% off. If you're not a VIP, thank you, Suzette. We look forward to seeing you. She signed up yesterday. If you're not a VIP, you can sign up and get 15% off. There's, as someone said earlier, you might as well get the VIP if you want to be the circle because you save the same thing. Julie, excellent. Thank you. We're excited to have you guys as part of the circle. It is a lot of fun. We get in conversations that go all over the place. Like I said earlier, we see a lot of organization going on. And if you are joining the circle, you have to join just to see Shelly's die wall. Did I get it right?
Yeah. Now, I think you're going to have to stick around with us for a while because she might be on the renos though too, right?
She might be on the renos, but Shelly has an awesome die wall.
See, that's how much we know. And we didn't know Shelly until the beginning of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So Shelly joined in January. So yeah. Crafting can be very solitary since COVID, but it's really nice to meet with others in all of the world. And it's really cool to see what other crafters are doing. And people help each other find stuff. So we've had a lot of fun with it. There was a question that went by here.
It was about the little vacuum.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I know the vacuum that she's speaking of, or I'm assuming it's the We Are Memory Keepers one. And I have clients who love embossing powder and adore that vacuum, everybody. Okay. Again, I'm not an embossing powder fan for me personally, okay? But I also, most of it's a little more for card makers, so I say that's my excuse.
Shelly's windows are almost done. So for those who know, Shelly's getting all of her windows done today. So she had to move her craft room. We also have someone in our Crafting Michelle who makes these amazing houses. So it doesn't have to be card making or scrapbooking. It's really paper. I don't card make and scrapbook, and I draw when I'm doing this, or I've knitted, or I do something else. So it's really an opportunity just to get together and give yourself the gift of dedicated time to craft. That's really the passion that came out of this and why we dreamed this up, is that everyone's got all these supplies, and we've talked to people where it's hard to get that dedicated time to just say, I'm going to give me some me time. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come and craft. We've had people say, I wasn't going to come on today, but I did. And then we have some laughs and do that. So, and Shelly's put a lot of laugh about her die wall. Her die wall is quite impressive. And it's also opportunities. If one of the things it's open to is we're opening to have members who want to teach a class like Shelly did. So lots of fun stuff, and we're all of the recordings are available from what we've done so far. So you also get access back to some of the recordings in the classes. So we have, Tracy did a great one on Chipboard. We had Dress My Success that did one on punches and using punches and creating a cookie card. And I'm not going to remember all of them.
You're doing really good.
I'm going month by month, and I'm like, I don't remember what February was.
Yeah. Sorry, I have no memory, everybody.
And I'm like, what did I have? What happened on the month but a lot of really good content. So thank you all the ones who are joining. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and for that, Heather, just for the content, like, I mean, if we have 90% people that are card makers or Cricut users or whatever it might be, then, you know, we might see more and more of one subject or another. Otherwise, it's, you know, we're just getting a whole variety.
So you did get there. Sean was the one who came in and talked about Cricut. So we had Sean about Cricut. We've had Shannon, and yeah, I think I got them all. I might have missed March. Yes. So thanks, I'm visual, so it works well, which is Shelley's wall. And teaching in class was scary but fun. It was awesome. Where do I find your online store, Tracy?
Online. No, just kidding. Sorry, I had to. Sorry. Okay. It's embellishedconnection.com. So embellished with an ED at the end and oneconnection.com. But again, like I said, I know it's not up to date. I'm sorry.
But her Facebook business page has a lot too. So if you go to her Facebook, her links are on her profile today, her Facebook business page, because your email and newsletters get off there. Get on their email list too.
And pricing for me, when I do the pricing for that, as opposed to the summit, it is in Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
So
that makes a difference. Again, when the Americans are looking, they're going to be like, what is she charging? It's like, that's Canadian. It's a lot less when you, do the math for you.
Rosemary, are you Canadian or American or Australian or from whatever other country?
Lady from Brampton?
I don't remember.
I know.
My go-to craft tool is my extra sticky lint roll. Cat hair shows up worse than embellished powder, and it's great to clean up all of the tiny bits from trimming.
Just so you know, I don't mind. I know I'm not saying, you do there, Susan, but sometimes when there's a little bit of cat fur on my layouts, I'm like, oh, there's my baby.
Rosemary's in Brampton. So yeah, sign up. And so for people who know, the email addresses that we have for scrapbookingfunsummit.com and Circle, Tracy doesn't promote her business to that. She has her own email list separately. So if you want to, and Rosemary, if you go to her profile, her page today, there's a link to her Facebook business page, and she shares a lot of what she has from her store and what's coming up, and her Wacky Wednesdays. So there's always a Wacky Wednesday out there. So you can get that from that.
And the newsletters, I promote a lot of the new product coming out that way too. If you see, a lot of my clients will reply to that and say, hey, I want this, that when it gets in. And that's something else I warn all my clients as manufacturers. And this is basically since COVID, they're not making the same amount of volume, like a product, that they used to. So some of the lines, they come out, you get your shipment, and then it's done. So you have to be quick. I have to be quick to order. My clients have to be quick to tell me, because then another client might get here and I'll be like, I'm out of that. I'm sorry. I can still get it or I can't. It's the volume of manufacturing has changed.
Thank you. We are looking forward to the VIP Craft and Chat tonight too. So thank you if you want to join for that. Those are for VIPs. And we have a number of our experts, speakers, presenters are coming on too. And I don't know who's going to be there. We don't know. It'll be one of the ones we did. We had like 20 people. Another one we had 200. So I don't know. But it can be intimate. We're going to do some breakout rooms if we have enough people. It's an opportunity to get to know people. So excellent. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to go feed our brains. And we will be back at 6:00 with Shannon. Shannon's lovely. She was one of our guest speakers, like we said, in the circle, and she's been on the summit before. She's lovely. Hello, late here and looking forward to the crop tonight, but my hubby asked me out to dinner tonight, so hope we get back in time. Well, I think us or your hubby. I'm not sure who you would take.
Oh, whoa. Hello, we're here.
one hubby and 20, 30, 40, 50 crafters.
Yeah. Go have a good dinner, right?
Hubby's got to go. So look forward to seeing you tonight. We'll be back at 6 with Shannon. Enjoy the videos today. They're all great presentations, and we have a huge lineup tomorrow. Actually, we have more presentations tomorrow. So thank you for sharing, Tracy and Joy. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you later on today.